celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
And the ladies are all at Twitter today because Prince Lorenzo Borghese will be back. And, he was a Bachelor on, what was that, ABC's Bachelorette? What do they call that program? Do you remember?
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor.
Okay. Yeah. He did not find love there, but he did find love with the animals, and he'll be back again today. I noticed that you're looking very good today, Judy. You dressed up, and you do realize it's a phone call, right?
Hairspray on, too.
Girl can hope.
I think you're better off not finding love, because just think of all the contacts you make on the show.
That's what I'm
saying. What do you want to find love for? You got 13 women now that you got contacts for.
Well, we could ask him about that in just a few minutes. Also on the show today, a lady who makes pants for dogs. I'm just going to let that lay there for a second.
What more can you say?
Let's go to your calls first. Hi, Linda. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Huntington Beach, California.
It's the Los Angeles area. So what's going on?
I have a Red Lord Amazon parrot that I boarded over Thanksgiving for 9 days, and I've been away from him before, but he's never been boarded. He went to a place that was highly recommended and where he gets groomed every 2-3 months or so. And when I checked it out, all the birds that were being boarded seemed happy. The environment was warm, but they didn't get covered at night. And now that I have him home with me again, ever since Thanksgiving, he does not want to be covered. And when I cover him, he goes down to the bottom of his cage, and he does like what I call crying.
Okay.
And he tears his paper apart. It's all shreds. And in the morning when I uncover him, he's up on his perch, but he jumps down to the bottom of the cage, climbs down there, and starts the crying thing all over again.
Okay. And is he the only bird in the house, or do you have others?
No, he's the only bird, and right now it's just him and I.
Okay. So, for non-bird owners, the practice of covering a bird at night is a couple reasons. The number one reason we cover birds at night is to quiet them down. We want them to have about 12 hours of sleep time per night. So that helps to eliminate noise, keeps the light down so that they can settle in and sleep at night. It isn't required for a bird to sleep. What we have to make sure is that those other factors are eliminated so that there's not excess light, there's not excess noise, so that they can sleep comfortably. So we can completely adapt to him if we wanted to and ensure that he's not covered at night. And if he's comfortable with that and he sleeps soundly, then I would just let things be.
I turn my heater off at night, and the house gets colder, and he seems to catch colds when he doesn't get covered. He shouldn't. It doesn't get that cold. It gets down to maybe 65 degrees.
Yeah, that's kind of the lower end of, kind of the comfort zone of a parrot, but that doesn't sound like that should be a problem. Does he settle in if you leave him uncovered?
Yes.
Okay. Well, depending on your temperature situation and your concerns, because we certainly don't want him to become stressed by the cold. So, and we have to remember, birds don't catch colds from cold weather. They catch it from bodily stress, and that allows these colds to take hold. So, what we would talk about doing maybe is you might look into getting a heating element, like a ceramic heater. And you can look at some of the different bird supply websites, but they use this a lot for birds that are housed outside, people who have aviaries or breeding birds, just to help keep their temperatures up in cold temperatures. There's no reason you can't use that in the home. But if you use that, my cautions with any kind of heaters with birds are only to really purchase bird-specific heaters, because you don't want to use like little space heaters. There's actually been shown information that shows that a lot of these space heaters we use for humans actually have the same component that's in Teflon that's toxic to birds. So that can actually cause sudden death in birds if they're exposed to this Teflon that's overheating. But that's more for like the human little space heaters that you'd be worried about. But if you look for actually bird heaters, they can either affix to the cage or the nearby area. And they're ceramic, so there's no light. So they can still sleep. We don't disrupt their sleep patterns, but it helps to keep kind of a warm zone in the area for them. And that might help reassure you if you can't cover them for the warming benefits, but still give them a little extra warmth support there.
Okay. And the other thing he picked up, another bad habit he picked up there.
Well, my goodness, those birds over there, they must have been a bunch of thugs, huh?
I think so. He doesn't like cell phones now.
Oh.
So by the cage and if I'm just holding my cell phone, he'll even attack me.
Really?
To the point of he'll leave beak marks on me. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, well, obviously there was some association with a cell phone or something resembling that. So the challenge is that it seems unreasonable to us when a bird responds this way to an inanimate object. But, they're prey animals, so their instincts are to be fearful of anything that's suspicious, that's new, or that just outright frightens you at time. And certainly a cell phone can make noise that could become startling to a bird depending on what the ringtone is set at, or what they hear, or the proximity to them, say even while he's sleeping. So who knows what happened? And I don't know that, you could figure that out at this point. But with cell phones at this point, you would have to counter condition him to accepting the cell phone in his visual field. So that is done by working towards his current belief is that when he sees a cell phone, he freaks out. So he's afraid of that. And so either responds aggressively or fearfully, depending on if he can fly away, get away, or if it's right in his immediate area. So the goal is to try to pair that with something positive and something favorable and change his association from that of being frightened and wanting to flee to saying, okay, this is a good thing. And the concept's the same as dogs. If we have a dog that's afraid of, a carrier and we want them to get used to the carrier, we throw treats in there or we lavish them with love. And the same thing for your bird is what we're going to try to do. And this would be something at a very, low level. We don't want to force birds because they really don't respond well to any kind of force or any kind of discipline when it comes to their fear, and fearful behaviors. But, finding what is his motivator. If he loves affection, it could be a smile, it could be cooing at him, it could be a scratch on the head, it could be a favorite treat item. But having just that sight of the cell phone within his sight and then working up to building up positive experiences with exposure. Limited time, not leaving it out, and don't try to flood him with that, but just little bits at time and rewarding him for that and then getting that item out of the way so it's not on his mind at that point. And, you can see if that kind of helps with conditioning him to accept that in the future. But yeah, he might have, maybe they played like some crazy rock music on a phone or a bird. I've had birds that board with us that sometimes mimic cell phones and it can really freak you out. And it could be something as simple as that, as another bird in the area had, some vocal repertoire that included cell phones and it kind of spooked him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope that can help you some. But the big thing is patience, and just not forcing it with birds. And it sounds like you got a great relationship with him. And most people know what makes their birds tick. It's just a matter of kind of forgetting how people think and thinking like a bird.
Yeah.
So plug in your bird brain.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for your call, Linda. We appreciate you listening to Animal Radio. Reach out to the Dream Team and ask your questions of Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani, and directly from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It gives me great pleasure to bring you Joey Villani, the dog father. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I have no complaints at all. But I'll tell you what, one of our listeners had a little bit of a complaint, but we're going to try to fix that.
Okay.
Yeah. What she wants to know is she's upset because every time that she has a pet groomed in a professional salon, she wants to know, how come they can get my dog to look so much better? Well, I got a couple of answers for that, but I also have some better than the professionals could do it.
Okay.
But, she can't get it to look that way, and she can't understand why. But I'm going to give her some tips to get it real close. Number one is first thing you got to recognize is you don't have the proper equipment, or most people don't. You're not going to have the high velocity dryers and the special types of tools that you would need to do it. So this is what you're going to do. If you got a short-haired dog or long-haired dog, you have to do an ideal brushing before you bathe the pet. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to loosen everything up. Okay, so it's going to loosen up all that dead hair that's stuck in there. Now, most professional pet groomers don't do it because they get a high-velocity dryer, so when they dry it, it actually helps pull that out. But when you don't do that at home, if you don't have that equipment, what happens is that hair gets trapped in there. So when it dries, it's really hard now to come out, or it's overwhelming because you have so much hair and so much coat that's coming out. The other thing is you're finding all the knots and tangles, and by brushing and combing, you're also stimulating the skin a little bit. It's almost as if you are exfoliating. On most bottles, it says 2 baths. 2 baths, that's nonsense. Bathe until the pet is clean, until you actually have no more dirt running off your pet. And that sounds unusual, but you'd be surprised at how many people say, well, I followed the instructions. I gave my pet 2 baths. Well, your dog is still dirty. Your cat's still dirty. And use a product that's made for pets. Now, a little trick here. Buy yourself a silicone-based spray made for pets. You use it sparingly. You spray that on while the dog is wet. Let your pet now air dry a good 80% of the way. And now you're going to take your brush and the comb when they're just damp, and you're going to brush through, and you're going to spray a little more silicone spray on it. And if it's a short-haired dog, you're going to use a rubber curry brush. If it's a long-haired dog, you're going to use your metal slicker brush. That's the brush that you see in the shelves in the store. If you're confused, ask the person who works in the store. And then when your dog is just about 100% dry, one more brush and comb, and you want to know something, you're going to look at it and say, wow, I did a damn good job there. Almost as good as my groomer.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, this is John Sally, and you are listening to Animal Radio. Go vegan.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Welcome, my friend. It's Animal Radio. We're celebrating the connection with your pet. We'll head back to the phones in just a couple of seconds. I noticed about 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe even a month and a half ago on Facebook, there was a survey. How do dogs wear pants? And you were supposed to chime in. How do dogs wear pants? Do they wear their back 2 legs, or all 4 legs? What would pants look like on a dog?
Pants would be the back 2 legs, and the shirt or top would be the front 2 legs. Unless it's
like the arms. That's correct, because that's how we think it is.
Well, and if you partake in that survey, you may have answered that way or not. But it did make me think about it. And then I saw this lady who makes pants for dogs called Mozziepants. Julie Korth is joining us. Hi, Julie. How are you doing?
I'm great.
So now how do dogs wear pants? What do pants look like on dogs?
We can help you with that survey. So we have a couple different items in our line. We actually have pants that go on the back, and the elastic hits about right behind their front legs. And we have a walking pant that allows them to go to the bathroom outdoors, cover wounds and hot spots. We have an original pant
made for indoor use because it also deals with incontinence, submissive peeing, and females in heat, so it has a padded area. And then our T-shirts could be considered dog pants as they cover the front legs of the dogs, and they also cover wounds or hot spots and keep the outdoor grime outdoors, so no more toweling off at the door.
How does someone get into making pants for dogs?
That's a very good question. So I suddenly lost my position in my company and decided it was time to live my dream. And on that particular day, my dream was to make dog pants. Mozzie is my rescue, and I had made pants for previous dogs as they got older and had incontinence issues or hot spots or wounds because I didn't want them to wear a cone. And when we got Mozzie, he was actually living on the streets in Southern California and had never had exposure to being indoors and had a lot of other challenges, as you can imagine. And so marking was a big issue in potty training. So I made the original pants for him, and when he would mark in the house, I would just gently take them off, take him outside, let him smell the marked pants, let him go to the bathroom, give him a treat, tell him good boy, bring him in, and I'd put on a clean pair of the pants. And within 5 days, he was out of the crate, not marking, and unsupervised with my other dog, and did perfectly.
Wow.
And then I also had the challenge, though, it was around the holidays, that we're going to go to other houses. And so I was very concerned about him marking in my mother-in-law's house, as you can imagine, how mortifying. So I brought the pants with me, and we ended up going to about 3 houses that holiday season. And I would put the pants on and kind of go through the same process. He would mark the first time, but then he'd be like, oh, there's more than one indoors. So it was a bit of a revelation for him. And after marking once and changing the pants, he didn't mark again in the other houses. And we've had him now since November of 2013, and he's perfect. He's no longer a marker.
Wow. So it's more than a fashion statement. It's really utilitarian is what these...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, absolutely. But they are adorable, and I have to tell
Yes.
you, when I was going through the process, right, I had a need. But then I would see the people's faces when they saw the pants on the dogs, and they would laugh and light up. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm onto something here.
Well, how is it doing? How long has the business been going?
I just launched the website in July of last year.
And how's it doing?
It's doing great. We're having steady sales every week. My biggest challenge is just letting people know that it's out there so that they know there is such a great product. I do what we call Mozziepants 911s, which you can see on our Facebook page. Friday, for example, I had a dog that had a tumor removed, and they got the dog home, but it was just a miniature dachshund, so they realized, oh my gosh, this cone is a nightmare. It's going to hurt her neck, and she's freaking out. So at 8 o'clock at night, I got a phone call because they'd heard about Mozziepants, and I went over to their house, and we fitted the pup with original pants, which completely covered the suture, and a T-shirt, and she doesn't have to wear the cone.
A cone of shame.
Now, like you said, it's also good for bad weather if you take them out in the rain. The dogs, I know I walk dogs, and even if it's not raining, their belly, because they're little dogs, their belly comes back all muddy and dirty and wet.
Yes, and we live in the city, so all of the street muck gets on.
Yes.
And then my other rescue, Cody, he has seasonal allergies, and he has hot spots. And I realized if I did the walking pant for him, which is the crotchless one that allows him to go to the bathroom.
Wait. What was that?
No jokes.
What was that?
No.
Yes, we have crotchless dog pants.
Oh, no.
I have to tell you, I've been out just spreading the word personally, walking in the parks and events and things, and I'll be talking to someone, and I'll tell them about the crotchless pants. And I can't tell you how many gentlemen within earshot, ears have perked over, and they have rushed over to learn about my crotchless underwear.
When my dogs wear pants, they're a little bit of a pain because they always ask me, does my tail look fat in these pants? And
Yeah. I hope you answered the right way, Joey. The website is called Mozziepants.com. That's Mozzie pants.com, and links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. Julie Korth joining us. Thanks so much for hanging with us and telling us about what you do.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Randy Travis here, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. A little noisy in here today, along with Gordy and Lucy, dogs in the studio. But we have some important news, and they wanted to be sure you knew, too, that there is this dangerous strain of dog flu spreading throughout the United States. Health officials confirmed tests showing the virus was found in dogs who stayed at a local kennel and doggy daycare facility there, where at least 80 dogs later developed a respiratory illness since December. The virus began spreading last spring, in fact, in the Chicago area, and then sickened more than 1,000 dogs in the Midwest. Although most dogs do recover, a handful of deaths have been reported. It's also spread now to about 25 states. Experts say this strain of the virus was first seen in Asia, but only recently appeared in the U.S., so no American dogs have built up the immunity to fight it off. This dog flu spreads pretty much the same way the human flu does, through virus droplets that are put out into the air from a sneeze or a cough, or by touching contaminated objects and surfaces, and it can live in the environment too for about 2 days, lingering on hands or clothing for as long as 24 hours. The most common symptoms you need to watch out for with this dog flu are high fever, cough, runny nose, watery eyes, maybe a sore throat, and a loss of appetite. They say dogs who catch it usually feel kind of puny, lousy for about 2 weeks. By the way, in Asia, where canine influenza was first detected, it has also been reported to infect cats. But in the U.S., they say cases of cats developing dog flu are extremely rare. However, there is some evidence that indicates pet guinea pigs and ferrets could also become infected. Well, did you see the photo of that turkey that took the internet by storm last week after boarding a Delta Airlines passenger flight? It was hysterical. Shows the bird sitting open-beaked, looking very relaxed while being hugged by its owner. Another photo of the same situation was also shared online of the turkey actually being transported through the airport terminal in a wheelchair. It's believed that the turkey was given a seat on the plane because it was claimed to be an emotional support animal. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Dean Koontz on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
You could download the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and ask your questions directly from the app, as well as get all the latest and breaking news, the news that really does affect you, like recalls, that kind of stuff. Make sure the food that you're feeding your animals is safe. You'll hear about it immediately if you have that app. And it's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio. Go ahead and download that puppy now. Aaron, what's going on with your dog?
Well, he has fairly severe allergies, including hypersensitivity to his own Demodex canis, and including allergies to people as well as a lot of foods. So I was wondering if what I could do to minimize that. I've gone through all of the steroids, all of them, Atopica, prednisone, and Tumoral P. I've got him on a raw diet. I have him on ivermectin to help minimize the Demodex irritation, but he is still every day uncomfortable, and I know that a regimen of steroids throughout his life is not only going to compromise his liver and kidneys and immune system, but potentially shorten his lifespan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, you sound like you had him allergy tested. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did both the viral, which I guess are not necessarily very accurate, and then we did the scratch testing, and he came up with pretty bad allergies to people, to chicken, eggs, corn, rice. Wow. Pretty much everything that's in commercial dry dog food, which forced us to the raw diet.
Okay. Yeah. So, if you had him allergy tested, did you at any time pursue allergy injections or desensitization therapy?
We did, yes. We went through that for about a year. It seemed to have no effect whatsoever, and then we were going to do a rush induction, and did that. We did do a rush induction, and that still seemed to help not at all. And I know most dogs are allergic to certain seasons. He seems to be allergic year-round.
Okay. Yeah, and wow, what a lot you got going on with this baby. I mean, the real problem what we have is that when we attack a lot of these allergy issues with the immunosuppressants, the prednisone, the cyclosporine, things like the Demodex kind of come to the surface, and truly we are hesitant to try to use anything really potent on the allergies till we can clear the Demodex, and that can take a long time. Some dogs, we don't clear it, and it's a constant battle with that. So for me, when I hear of a pet that we're dealing with allergies that's having an active Demodex break, that's where I try to focus a lot of my efforts. That and any other concurrent infections, bacteria infections, yeast infections, and try to address those things and to address that as much as we can, and then say, okay, let's regroup and then look at things like steroids or cyclosporine, because it's actually the use of things like steroids indiscriminately a lot of times with these allergy patients that they give relief, but they can set up the pet to break with these mites, the Demodex mites. So that's probably the best avenue that I could say to go to try to get a handle on things. And then if it is a year-round issue, then gosh, yeah, the diet would be a huge focus on how I would try to address that. And definitely a lot of the blood allergy testing for food allergies is not always very useful. So we usually try to do more of the elimination diet. So things like raw are fine, but there's still things in raw food that can be an allergen. So I'm not sure what therapies you've tried, but whether we go with a hydrolyzed protein or even a novel protein diet where we're trying to eliminate and only pick a few ingredients and keeping it really pure, if you will. And that's how I like to go after the food allergy component with the year-round issues. And then making sure fleas are under control. Got to keep those fleas under control as well if that's an issue for your area.
It's not. He was in Las Vegas, and actually, unfortunately, now he's in Arizona for the time being. But we did do the elimination diet. We did that for about 2 years with the journal, and we have him on a minimal amount of ingredients, which seem to be okay. This is what I'm just thinking my head against the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and it will be, in his situation, I would be realistic in that this is going to be a lifelong battle, that a lot of times looking for the inexpensive or the end of the road is probably not likely going to be there, because he's always going to have issues, and you're going to have to modify that, especially as you move from one locale to another with him. And I recently had someone move from Michigan to Las Vegas, and they said, we did all the allergy testing in Michigan, and you know what, we know he's allergic to things. And I said, well, after you're in a new environment, there are different allergens, and some may be a greater component than others. So retesting when there is a move and potentially going on another allergy therapy might be another thought to consider as well.
Aaron, we wish you the best of luck with that. Lori Brooks working hard in the newsroom. We've got a couple of dogs in there today. And
yeah, I do.
I don't.
Lucy and Gordy.
Lucy and Gordy. Now, Gordy doesn't usually come in, does he?
Yeah, what he wants. Gordy is a hospice dog, so Gordy gets to do whatever Gordy wants to do.
Does he help you pick news stories?
If he happens to be at my feet, but no, usually he prefers to be upstairs in the bedroom.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, it's Alan Cable, and we're talking about dogs. I'm going to give you a little project. I want you to watch your dog for a week. His body language, the way he moves, his energy level. Is he calm and happy or wound up and manic? Watch your dog as much as you can for an entire week. Just observe your dog's behavior and then really think before you react. I'll give you an example. I was in the dog park just yesterday. A woman with a smaller dog is walking. Her dog barks at just about every single dog and just lays into this bigger dog. The bigger dog is calm and relaxed and pretty much just wants to say hi, do a little sniffing around. You know, you can observe the different energy. One dog, very nervous, very afraid, manic, anxious, fearful. The other dog, calm, relaxed, la-di-da. What do you think her response was? Well, she immediately snatches the dog up, is holding the dog, going, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Now, that would be the perfect thing to do if the dog were human, but it's a dog. So what do you think the dog gets from that? He's acting crazy and gets affection. So that tells him it's a good thing he's acting like that. She's reinforcing it. It also tells the dog, yes, there is something to be afraid of, and you're right to be afraid. The best thing to do since the dog's on a leash is just turn around and walk the other way. And if you can't do that, you get out in front of the dog to show him you're in charge and you're going to protect him. You're the pack leader. This is assuming, of course, the dog that he's afraid of is mellow. You don't want to get in the middle of two insane dogs. Now, you also give your dog a correction to refocus his mind. Little jolt of the leash, little hand signal, and you do it over and over again until the dog starts to understand that that behavior is the wrong behavior. When the dog is mellow, you say, good dog. The more in charge you are, the more calm you are, the more calm your dog's gonna be. Dogs are like kids. They need boundaries, and you're the only one who can show them what they are. But you can't do it with words. You've got to do it with body language and corrections and a composed, calm self. And don't forget the praise. So go out there and watch some dogs. Watch yours. See if you can figure out what your dog is saying. And before you act, think about the message it's sending the dog.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
Hi, this is Bob Barker on Animal Radio, reminding you to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
In a few minutes, we have, for his second appearance, Prince Lorenzo Borghese will be joining us.
Ooh la la.
Yes. His true love is really the animals, and he's doing a lot for them, and we'll talk to him again in just a few minutes right here. Of course, there's so many ways to ask your question. You can ask from the Animal Radio app. It's a free download for your iPhone or for your Android smartphone, as well as listen to the show. Just like Jerry. Is it Jerry? Hi, Jerry. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Where are you calling from today?
I'm from West Virginia.
What city?
It's Charleston.
Are you listening on WSCW?
Yes, where I listen at.
You guys, I love you out there. Thank you so much. I love your southern drawl. I just get so tickled with the southern drawl. But I know you're calling about turtles, right?
Right.
What's going on?
Well, my daughter got this little turtle. It was not bigger than, well, it was a little bit bigger than a quarter when she first got it.
Ooh.
Okay, but we've had it for like 5 years now. And it's now probably about the size of a child's baseball mitt.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
It's grown. Grown. It's really grown. And the problem is that my daughter has gotten a back problem where she's having a hard time getting this huge tank that it's in cleaned. Okay?
Okay.
And what I wanted to know is if there's any way that it can be released without, I mean, we'll keep it and figure out something. But what I wanted to know is if they can be released safely.
Okay.
She's been with us for a long time.
Sure. Now, the thing I'll tell you is the red-eared slider, well, it is found, out in the wild in much of the country. It increasingly has become what we call an invasive species. So people take their pet sliders and they get to a point where they can't manage them and they release them into the wild. And they actually can be a huge problem impacting other wildlife, whether it be plant or fish species, or other animals competing for the same food source. So we really don't recommend that. And not only that, but there's also diseases we can introduce that might be present in captivity that we can bring to those wild turtles. So I don't recommend that. What I would say is, if it's no longer possible to keep this turtle in your house, I would certainly look into adopting it.
I thought about that.
Yeah, and you can actually check with your, if you check for local herpetological societies, there's a lot of, these, believe it or not, there's a lot of reptile lover groups out there. We have them out in my Vegas area, and you can get some good direction from those individuals on who might be able to take the turtle or adopt it. They have special needs, so.
Yeah. What about, it's in a big aquarium, but what... Can they be put in like a tote or something that's not as heavy, or do they just? I mean, I didn't know if that kind of plastic would hurt the turtle, or
You said in a tote.
A tote, like like a big tote, a big plastic tote. And it would have more
like
room.
a storage tote.
I don't know if they can they get out? I mean, they're not all water, are they? I mean, they don't have to be in the water all the time, do they?
Not all the time, but they do need a good amount of water to swim, to feed in, to soil in, and then also they'll have to have some area to get out and kind of dry out at times. So in my experience, I find that aquariums are the safest way to do that because we often, the plastics don't hold up well. Also, the height of that does matter because these guys can climb out of their enclosure. So you want to make sure you have a proper fitting lid with a screen top. And we can't forget that in captivity, we have to meet nature's, creation. So we have to provide UV light as well as a heat source, and plastic is not going to survive really well with that. So your glass enclosures are going to be the best way you can do that and contain, the water and the soiling and all of that.
Okay.
So
what was the name of the group? What was it that you called the?
I would just say herpetological societies. So if you look under like herp fanciers, and it basically means folks that enjoy reptiles of all different sorts.
Okay. Well, we love to too. I mean, just Tanya's getting to where she can't. It's hard for her to clean the tank and stuff. So, but anyway, I sure appreciate your help.
Okay. Well, good luck with that
program.
Well,
I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you so much for listening there in Charleston, West Virginia. We appreciate that. Jerry, call back if you have any further questions. We had on, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we had on the president of the African, who was it? Lisa
with the Turtle
Society.
Mm-hmm.
And that she spends a lot of time taking care of adopted turtles or turtles,
rehoming them.
So
People that have passed away and looking for places for their turtles. Yes,
these places exist. Yeah.
It's funny that she called because this week we've had at my hospital, we've had a rash of turtles and tortoises really being injured, chewed on by dogs.
Really?
Being run over by cars in the driveway, things like that.
Oh.
So, if you do take on one of these pets, you have to be aware of their environmental needs and really make sure you have a safe home.
They live a long time, don't they?
They do. And, sliders can live up to, 30, 40 years. And they can get quite sizable, up to, 20 centimeters. So they can get pretty darn big. And they can be a bit aggressive, too. So
really?
Yeah,
aggressive,
so you have to watch your... just meaning I have one that comes in. I think I talked about her before. She lays eggs every year, and she'll take your fingertip if you get it close. I'm pretty quick, so I get out of the way.
Oh, wow.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is John Grogan. I'm the author of Marley and Me. And I just hope that everybody can find a dog to love and to keep that dog in their family for their whole lives.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
If you just tuned in this hour, last hour you missed the lady who makes pants for dogs. And quite an intriguing. And if you missed it, that's okay. You can head on over to the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and listen to it again. But this hour, I'm telling you, it's going to get even steamier. The ladies are very excited. Prince Lorenzo Borghese will be back with us, and for his second time. I don't know what he's up to.
You can leave, Hal. We don't need you for this one. Us girls can take over this one.
I'll just go. No reason for me to be here. Why don't you invite any hotties, female hotties?
I do. I make it balanced. There's been plenty of women on that you've been
Hal, you're over. He's just overpowered right now. We've got
know. He can't
more gals.
stand it.
I think Joey has already left. In fact, he's so intimidated. Yes, he did.
He was too intimidated.
Yes. So that's coming up this hour. But before that, we're going to take your calls. And we'll also do a check of the news. And you're working on that, Lori. What's going on?
Well, there's an incredible story about a town that has done really what you think would be the impossible to help dogs in their area over their fear of fireworks. It's amazing.
Huh. Okay.
I wonder what they did.
I don't know.
What could you do?
I'll tell you.
Something we could use, because I know Ladybug freaks like nobody's business when she hears fireworks.
Yeah, and one of my cat runs under the bed.
Eesh.
We just go out of town.
Oh, yeah.
But do you take the dogs with you?
Oh, well, yeah. I'm not afraid of the fireworks.
Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
You must be a child of the 90s, a young gal, huh?
Oh, well, you're flattering, but not hardly. A child of the 70s.
Really? I thought Aisha was kind of a newer name, no?
No, it's one of the older ones. All the other Shuz are the newer ones.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of the old Shuz.
So what's going on? I have Dr. Debbie right here. I understand something's going on with your animal.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Debbie. How are you doing?
Hi, super. And how about you?
I have a 3-year-old Doberman. Her name is Diamond, and she has, we're calling it incontinence. She will lay down, and it's kind of like she potties in the bed. She'll be laying on her dog bed, and she'll just urinate. And when she gets up, there's a nice little potty spot where she was laying. And she's great. She's a wonderful dog. She's great with the kids. I would love to have her sleeping, in the kids' room on a dog bed or something like that, or even on the bed. But I just can't trust that we won't have that problem with the urination.
And she's pottying outside during the day, okay?
Yeah. And so it's not a potty training issue. She knows to go outside. It just seems like usually when she's sleeping, if she has been asleep for a long period of time and she gets up, whatever blanket or area she's on, there's a nice little urination spot right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
And
Alrighty,
so, and I've been told that there's medication I can give her, but no one seems to know the name of the medication, anything about the medication. So just your thoughts.
Okay, absolutely, yes. And when we have a dog, especially a female dog that is incontinent, leaking urine when they're sleeping or relaxed or getting from a lying position, getting up,
Yes.
we tend to look for female incontinence medications. And is she spayed by any chance?
Yes, she is.
She is. Okay. Because the number one population we see this in is the spayed female dog. And some thoughts actually recognize this problem could be as high as 15 to 20% of dogs that are spayed. It's one of the reasons that nowadays many folks with the laparoscopic spays are actually just removing the ovaries because it's thought to maybe be implicated with that. But yes, so there are some very useful medicines. And I can tell you my own Labrador is on 2 of those to help control her problem. Because it was, I recognized it in my dog at 2 years of age. And so the first line medication, well, I'm going to back up. First, always what I'd like to do first is to check a urine sample, make sure nothing's going on in there. No signs of infection, make sure there's no crystals that might make us worried about bladder stones, things of that nature. Once that's good, then I'll look at the medicine. And the first one we go to is phenylpropanolamine, or Proin is one of the common trade names of that. And that's something that it's generally given twice a day to 3 times a day, and can for many dogs do wonderfully to help improve the tone in the bladder so that we don't have these leaking episodes. Beyond that, there is also an estrogen compound. It's called diethylstilbestrol, and we abbreviate it DES. And it has to be compounded at a outside pharmacy that makes prescriptions. So you probably won't find that readily at your veterinary office unless they already have someone compounding that. And that is not always the first choice because it's an estrogen compound, and we have to kind of watch to make sure we're not giving too much, that it can suppress the bone marrow. We can lead to problems with anemia. I've never seen it. It can happen, and we worry also about giving too much causing estrogen stimulation. So maybe feeding the concerns with breast cancer. So we want to use this cautiously with veterinary supervision. But I can tell you that drug.
What is your dog? You said your dog is on what?
She is on both of those.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, and we actually had her on the phenylpropanolamine for quite a few years, and she did well with that. And then eventually we lost control, and she started having leaking. So we added in the DES, and that's usually added in. At first we started on a daily basis, and then some dogs we get down to just maybe once or twice a week, and that kind of helps control. And it's interesting, both of these medicines, when they're used together, they work better than one agent by themselves. So it's not unusual that we'll use them together for a pet. And I'll have to tell you that Dobermans are definitely a breed that can have an incontinence problem even if they're not spayed. So we do see that very commonly in these gals. So
could it have anything to do with the tail docking, or is that just not it?
Probably not. And I mentioned that, there's some thought that perhaps having surgery in that area, basically having the uterus removed, might cause some change to the nerves in the area or to, the structure in that area. But now, and then there are some other more extreme techniques, and I can't tell you I've had anybody go through them, but I've heard of some fellow colleagues that pets can have collagen injections into the bladder. Oh, wow. And that helps to give a little bit of a thickening to the bladder. And for many dogs, that may work wonderfully, but it can have a temporary effect, so they have to go back for additional treatments, and that's usually done at specialty centers, vet schools, things of that nature. So not widely used.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck with that, Aisha. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you so much.
Animal Radio.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
So far, so good, but it's still early.
Who is this?
This is Bill.
Hey, Bill.
I've talked to you guys before. As a matter of fact, I know I'm the one that gave you the thumb cure for your sore throat.
Oh, I use it all the time now, and I pass it on. Thank you so much for that information.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
I never get a sore throat now at all. I haven't had a sore throat in probably 15 years.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's improved my sex life, too. And yeah. So,
how are you using this?
And any other tips you have, you just bring them on, Bob. But Bill.
Bill. Well, I got a little story to tell. My wife and I were dog groomers before I became a truck driver, and she still grooms dogs at an animal hospital down there in Florida.
Uh-huh.
But we had this one customer who had a Shih Tzu, and he had his dog neutered. Him and his wife, our girlfriend, had the dog neutered.
Uh-huh.
Well, they felt that the dog was rather embarrassed about this.
Sure.
So, they had us leave a tuft of hair back there where his testicles were, and they had it, and each time they had it groomed, they didn't want us to touch it. They wanted to get bigger and bigger.
Just to cover up that area there. Well, they have what they call nudicles. Have you ever heard of nudicles, Bill?
Yes, I have. I have. Implants. Yeah.
Testicular implants, fake implants, for those that might be a little, conscious about that.
Yeah, I like the hair thing. Let's not go do surgery. I like the hair. Nobody can see.
That's too much surgery. That would be worse than declawing a cat.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's another solution if you're one of those people that doesn't want to get your animal neutered simply because they won't look macho anymore. They won't have those things dangling there. Yeah, you can cover it up with hair.
I kind of think it was an owner problem instead of a dog problem.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Usually is. The dogs aren't too concerned about that. Bill, thank you so much for your call today.
Thank you very much, and keep squeezing them thumbs.
I will. I'm squeezing them right now.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. Here's a dog tip for you. You're at a dog park. You don't like letting your dog off the leash. You're not certain if your dog will obey you when you call him, but what the heck? You feel bad. You want him to run free, so you let him go. Everything's going great till this one dog shows up and your dog takes off. You try calling him, but he pays no attention to you. Now think about it. What's your next step? Is it frustration? Yelling? Do you walk towards the dog, mad, body all tense, already knowing as soon as you get close, he's going to run away? The only thing you can think of is you got to get him by that collar. Okay, let's stop and look at this. Your dog's not listening. He doesn't respect you. Dogs respond when you're secure and confident, calm, when you act like a pack leader. Now, providing your dog already understands what it means when you say come, if you can approach him calmly and put him in the submissive position below you, give him a correction right then and there, bad dog, put him on a leash, great. But if you can't catch him, well, the odds are you're going to be frustrated. You got to fight that. Now, you probably shouldn't have let your dog off the leash because you knew to begin with he wouldn't listen to you. He wouldn't come when you called, but you did. So the point is, what do? What's your response? Turn the opposite way and start walking. Now, some dogs are not going to pay any attention and not care that you're gone. But most dogs are going to notice because you're walking away from them, the pack. You're giving them no attention, nothing. So what do you do when your dog does approach? Reprimand him for not listening the first time? Heck no. Every time your dog comes to you without being called and is close to you, praise him. Good boy. Because if you reprimand him when he comes to you, he's never going to want to come to you. He's going to associate it with unpleasantness. Well, every time I go over there, I get yelled at. Instead of, every time I'm near that other dog, well, I get some attention. You correct them when they're doing what you don't want. You praise them when they're doing what you do want. And when they're calm, just laying there, that's when you give them attention. When they're jumping around like freaks before a walk or when you just come home, pay no attention to them. Till they mellow out. You can even say that, mellow out. When he gives you that, you praise him. Teaching your dog to be mellow and calm, that's the way to go. That's when you give attention.
Do you travel with your dog?
Of course. My pets are part of our family.
Me too. I take Daisy with me everywhere. Right, Daisy? So how do you find out what hotels welcome your dog?
I read Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog.
Sounds perfect for planning our next vacation. Right, Daisy?
It is. Their motto is leave no dog behind, and they have great hotel and destination reviews.
Where can I find the magazine?
Go online to FidoFriendly.com.
I will for sure. Come on, Daisy. We're off to find our next adventure.
Hey, this is Sean Hayes on Animal Radio. Remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
It's Animal Radio. And the moment all of the ladies have been waiting for the entire show.
Hal.
Back for his second appearance, we have Prince Lorenzo Borghese joining us. Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Couldn't be better. The ladies, they all get a Twitter when you come on the show.
Yeah, we wanted to kick Hal out of the studio. We don't need him for this one.
Well, I wish I was in the studio with you. It'd be a little more fun.
Well, we spoke.
Oh, maybe we. Okay.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
Next time. There you go.
You found your real love, and for listeners that don't know that, that's the animals.
Well, I founded a charity called Animal Aid USA, and I co-founded it in 2012. And it's a group of all volunteers, meaning no one gets a paycheck, and we just do it because we love animals. And my group drives from South New Jersey to Georgia once a month, and we go to very high kill shelters in Georgia, and we save, on average, about 175 dogs a month.
Wow. So you're transplanting dogs that are otherwise homeless in the southern part of our country to the northeastern part of our country to find homes?
Well, we're transporting them from Georgia in a county that unfortunately has a very high kill rate, and the shelters that we deal with have a 98% kill rate that we brought down to 10%. And through our receiving rescues and our partners, we actually transport the dogs anywhere from actually Florida all the way up to New Hampshire, but primarily on the East Coast.
Are there anything special about these dogs, or are they certain breeds or appearances that you don't have in these other areas?
Well, what's special about them is first of all, that they're dogs, and I think they're all special. But what's interesting is the area that we pull from. There's a lot of purebreds there. There's a lot of puppies. There's very cute mutts. There's I don't know why, but for some reason in this one area, there are a lot of, I guess, not responsible pet owners that don't spay and neuter, but have purebreds and cute dogs that continue to get pregnant, and they just let these dogs out, and the dogs are roaming the streets, or they're using for target practice. Some are shot, some are run over by cars. It's just really sad to see. And what we do is we take pictures of all these dogs, and we send them out to our receiving rescues to see if they want to take them. And if they do, then we pay for their shots, we pay for spay neuter, and we get them a healthy dog ready for adoption. And they actually make money from us because they get an adoption fee.
Now in the Bachelor, you didn't find true love, but you recently found true love of another breed. Tell us about Titan and how you met Titan.
Well, Titan, I actually live on the East Coast, and I know this woman, Kim, who's out in California, and she's involved with Shelter Hope Pet Shops. And I've worked with her in California to help save some of the dogs out there. And I was going out there for a TV segment, and they said, let's go ahead and put together a PSA, public service announcement, promoting pet adoption. And can you do that and make it sort of fun? And we'll have dogs from the West Coast that are out for adoption. So I went over to her house, and there were all these really cute dogs available for adoption. And I said, I really want to promote pit bulls because they're actually one of the most loving dogs in the United States, but unfortunately are one of the most common dogs to get euthanized, and one of the most dogs that people don't really understand. So the skit is that I have all these dogs to choose from, and out of the dogs, I picked Titan, which is not only a pit bull, but is a male pit bull. And everyone thinks that I'm going to be picking, a human and a female human, and I go home with a male pit bull.
So Titan gets the rose.
And it's a great message, because pit bulls really, they do get a bad rap, and especially media, and I'm afraid my peers, when they find a dramatic story about a pit bull mauling or something like that, they run with it. And the fact of the matter is that pit bulls can be very docile and can be very friendly and very loving, right?
Well, 100%. And pit bulls aren't born to be aggressive and to fight. Usually, and I would say in over 90% of the cases, whenever a pit bull bites, it's been trained by its owner to do that. And, they're smart dogs and they're very loyal dogs, and they listen to their owners. So if the owner's, rewarding the dog for biting another dog or biting a human, it's positive reinforcement to the breed. and that's where they get the all the bad rap from. It's not because they're a bad breed. It's because of how they've been brought up, and it's almost humans aren't that different either. If we're growing up and our parents are telling us that stealing's good, we believe our parents and we want to make them proud, and we continue to steal, but not because we want to do it, but because we want to make sure that our parents are proud of us. And in a way, that's how pit bulls react when, all they want to do is please their owners. And, if you take a puppy pit bull or a pit bull that's never been anyone, that dog is the most lovable breed that you can find out there, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, the big biters are like dachshunds, and it's just that.
The small, yes.
Yeah, but they're just not as strong. They don't inflict as much damage, so they don't make headlines when you get bit by a dachshund or chihuahua.
We're with Prince Lorenzo Borghese. Are you still a bachelor?
I am still a bachelor.
Okay.
Good to know.
I just, I can't imagine. Ladies, he's obviously hot, and he loves animals, and that is really really all you need, right? So we enjoyed talking to you, as always, and hopefully we'll do it again very soon.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and I appreciate you sharing the message and helping me and everyone else involved speak for the animal.
If you want to see the video that Prince Lorenzo Borghese was talking about, I'm going to put a link over at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family. I'm on Animal Radio. Adopt a pet.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. 800-689-0143. That's 800-689-0143.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. If you are a pet parent, well, there's a few days of the year that you probably dread, like New Year's Eve and the 4th of July. Fireworks just drive animals crazy, especially dogs with their sensitive hearing. Many, in fact, will hurt themselves trying to escape the noise or hide. Dogs can bolt and they risk getting lost or hit by a car. Many wind up in shelters. Well, one town in Italy is now taking a huge step to reduce the fear of fireworks in their non-human population. They're making a new law that fireworks in their town must now be silent as a way of reducing the stress that the loud noise can cause to animals, not just pets, but also to wildlife, too.
All right, wait a minute now, okay, because I have to comment on something.
Of course.
How do you sell fireworks that are silent? I want to go into that market because I'll make a lot of money selling silent fireworks.
Really? There's a company that makes them?
Yeah, that's what I found in the article. There's a company that makes them, and they're like starting to do booming business. But I thought the same thing. That would be, no pun intended.
Hal, let's think about this now. We might corner the market here.
I want to know how they do that. Is little silencers on each one?
I like the visual better than the noise. 3 months ago, a dog named Pirate and his owner arrived at a hospital in Argentina. The dog's owner had to go into the hospital for surgery, but sadly he passed away. Pirate, though, never left the hospital, and now he roams the halls hoping to meet up again with his human. Hospital workers don't even know their dog's real name, so they dubbed him Pirate because they say no matter how hard they tried to keep him outside of the hospital, he got into the health center and visits the last place that he saw his owner alive. That was room 404. Well, according to a local newspaper there, when the pet owner died, the hospital staff wanted the dog gone. However, their feelings towards Pirate have changed a bit when they realized how loyal a dog he was. Now Pirate has been officially adopted as the hospital's mascot and comes and goes as he pleases. In fact, they say nobody really knows where they can find Pirate during the daytime hours, but at night he can always be found comfortably sleeping outside room 404. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hey folks, this is Jackson Galaxy. You're listening to Animal Radio. Please do everyone a favor, spay or neuter your animals today.
You're hearing Lucy starting to throw a fit.
Growling.
Yeah, this is her. Give me attention now.
She wants attention. Give her attention. Give her a big old hug.
Lucy.
Oh, Lucy.
There you go.
It's Animal Radio. We're very lucky and blessed we get to take our animals to work, and sometimes it means they want attention
now
during the show. And we give it to them because that's how we roll here at Animal Radio. Hi, Lori.
Hello, hi.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from West Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, listening on WEEU. Thank you so much.
Right.
What's going on with your animals?
Okay, well, we took in a cat. We have 3 cats. We had 3 cats. One died of diabetes in April. So we took in another cat that was stray in our neighborhood, Big Boy, a male. And one of our females, who's 10 years old, does not get along with Big Boy. And they usually would just growl at each other, and that's it. And he's not a biter. He's very affectionate. He's a love, really. But she does not like him. They don't like each other. Now, we haven't had any major problems because at night we have a huge cage for Big Boy that he used to sleep in. Now we let him loose at night. And the problem that we're having is that the Snickers, the cat, is beginning to sometimes drop poo, which is solid on the carpet. And she has urinated twice now, in the living room and in the bedroom. And the problem, what we're trying to figure out is how can we stop that. I used the Fenaway diffuser when we brought him in about 9 months ago, and we used the remedy solution, that you can get. So we don't know what to do to prevent that because we want to keep our carpet nice and we're getting our carpet clean. What can we do to keep Snickers from being afraid of Big Boy? And yet they will eat together, and when my husband sits on the couch, Big Boy will sit on the floor, and the one cat will be on the couch next to him, and Snickers will be at his shoulder on the armrest of the couch. So what do you do to make her less afraid of him? And we do have him in occasion. Lately, we have had him out of the cage at night, and sometimes you hear a little growling. And then when she gets scared, she will throw up, or just recently she started doing that, though.
Okay.
The female cat.
A lot depends on how we manage these situations by what is physically happening with the kitties at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're a lot of times if it's limited to growling, posturing, hissing, we've got a little bit more wiggle room because we may not have a physical altercation going on.
Right,
if we've actually got fighting, biting,
no, there's no fighting. No, there's no biting. It's just the growling. And now, though, it's the physical that she lets her territory be known by, pooping on the carpet. But, the other thing is we've changed litter boxes because we feel, but he makes the litter box his own, and there's, he goes in all of them.
Right. And before we make the conclusion that she's urinating and defecating because she's urine marking, that may not necessarily be the situation. It could be an aversion to those locations, and you kind of alluded to that. So it isn't always that she's saying, hey, this is my spot. I'm going to urinate and defecate here. She could just be afraid of actually physically crossing the house or going down the stairs or going to where she might encounter him. So the trick can be is sometimes when we have a cat who's an aggressor, they may be actually kind of starting the offensive, and they may be starting the growl or the posturing or making the eye contact to the other cat and intimidating them in that way. But in some cases, it's actually the other cat, the one that is actually appearing to be fearful, that can actually trigger the attack.
She does that. She will growl at him. I mean, he can just be like 2 feet away from him, and she will growl at him.
I equate this, where your female cat, the way she's behaving, it's almost like my little sister when we were kids, and she'd stick her tongue out at me across the room. It's nonverbal communication. She's not threatening me in any way, but she's antagonizing me. And so an aggressor cat, when they're faced with some kind of physical, what looks like a fearful response, they may actually be triggered to respond aggressively just because they see that and they think this is what I'm supposed to do because I know she's going to freak out next.
Right.
So in some kitties, and this gets a little complicated, some of the simple things we can try, definitely the feel away, I like that idea. It's very important to also increase the amount of the kitty resources in the house. And a resource to a cat is food, water bowls, litter pans, nesting or perching sites.
Right. We have been changing the location.
Yeah. And this may be a situation where if we're not going to do physical separation, then we may need to look into some drug therapy here. These are very complicated issues, and anyone who's had a cat with a kind of aggression problems like this, they can attest that the fearful response, the aggressive response they have it's so intense that the effect can last for quite some time. So if a cat has an inner cat altercation and they're aggressive, they may be agitated for days. So physically separating them is very important if we have any hostility going on. And that may be just for a few hours, but it can even be up to 4 or 5 days in some cats because they are just mentally agitated. And then the sight of the other cat just reawakens all those sensations that they're having. So that is a very important thing. So not that putting them in a cage is necessarily the same thing, because that's like my sister across the table just 20 feet away, where she could still stick her tongue out at me and make me mad. So you need to make sure that they're actually physically separated where they can't see people see themselves directly. The one thing that I would definitely the direction I would go with things as far as with behaviorally, there's a lot of environmental things we can definitely do, but the direction I would certainly look at is making sure that she has a full health assessment, have her checked out, because she might be the first kitty that I would talk about using some drug therapy. So for a cat that's really fearful, we might use medications that help to decrease their anxiety, things like alprazolam or Valium, and that might help take her fears down, so help to not have these episodes. That's one way to go. Sometimes we'll medicate the aggressor kitty if that seems more appropriate. So it definitely is going to take some work with your veterinarian. I don't think you're going to be able to fix this completely on your own. And you're doing some things that are really very good. And one is that using food as a positive reward. And that is just a natural thing. Cats love food. So you should really spare that for when you want to put the kitties together, when they're in a calm, non-agitated state, and that's when the food comes out. And you can even make it a special treat. That's when the canned food comes out, or a special treat that they really like. And as long as they're behaving calmly, quietly, there's no posturing, there's no hissing, then that food makes it a good experience. And then you say, okay, that's enough. Let's separate you guys. We were going to end on a good note, and that's a good therapy session. So that's the kind of thing you can work with at home. You got a lot of work here. I definitely feel for you, Lori.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. It was an odd scene in a Honolulu courtroom recently. Dogs of all sizes, even a spotted rabbit named Roxy, were among those gathered to watch as Governor Lingle signed a pet-oriented bill into law. The law allows residents to leave a trust fund for the care of their pet. 16 other states have passed similar laws. The average amount left to a pet is $25,000, although in 1993, tobacco heiress Doris Duke left $100,000 to her dog, and Golden Girls actress Betty White's will is reportedly leaving all of her $5 million estate to her pets. Now that's a lot of dog biscuits. To find out if you can put your pet in your will, contact a local attorney. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
Oh, what did he say? He said, we're all across the USA, the most listened to pet show today. Animal Radio, we're everywhere you go. Animal Radio. Animal Radio.
Hi, Rena. How are you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Where are you?
I'm in Florida.
Where it's sunny and beautiful most all times. Of course, this last season it's been kind of cold, huh?
Yeah, it's raining. Been raining most of the day here.
Okay, well, how can we help you? Dr. Debbie's right here.
Okay, Dr. Debbie. I enjoy your laugh, by the way, very much. I enjoy hearing you laugh.
Thank you.
Listen, I have 3 cats, but one in particular, her name is Biscuit, and she's about 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
And she bites her left side quite a bit. And then she can be laying down and she'll abruptly sit up and she just sits there. And then she stares a lot.
Okay.
And I was just wondering what's your opinion on what that could be?
And is it only the left side that she's kind
Just
of
the left
bothering?
side, yes.
Okay.
By
Is there
her
actual...
hip. By her hip
Okay.
and her leg. And I've looked, at her skin. I've taken her to the vet. And he said he would have to, do x-rays or scrape some skin off. And that was quite expensive, and I didn't have that done. And I was wondering if you knew what that could be.
Well,
But
yeah.
I was wondering if she could be in pain, when she's laying down and she'll just get up and sit up abruptly.
Yeah, and definitely that would be partly my instinct from what you're describing, is that when a kitty just kind of suddenly jumps up, looks like, holy bejesus, somebody bit my tail, and reacts, whether or not they move or do anything afterwards, that's kind of a wake up where I'd say, she's maybe not trying to tell us, but she's feeling something. And I've seen a lot of kitties with some similar syndromes where it's not always an easy thing where we can peg a diagnosis just off of what we have so far, but it does give us an index of suspicion that there is something, and that this doesn't sound like it's necessarily a behavioral problem. So I would go looking for things that can cause pain, things that can cause any kind of distress, even when we throw in that kind of grooming behavior. If she's excessively grooming in a certain area, we would think of skin disease. We can actually think of allergies as well. So allergies, food allergies or food intolerances can cause pets to do some kind of strange behaviors where they're kind of woken up almost, if you will, at times. But
talk about that, Dr. Debbie. The food, they've been on science diet for quite a few years, and I forgot what you said. Like it takes a month. Excuse me. It takes a month. Change their food slowly, and then didn't you say something about it takes a month to get to change them to something else?
Exactly. Yeah. So when we do a transition on food, we do it over about a week to 10 days. But once you get to a new food, a hypoallergenic diet or some other variety, some route you're going, it can take a month to 2 to really see if it makes a difference. Now, I would certainly say, there might be some other medical things I would look at. And, if your veterinarian's talked about doing something like an x-ray, I'm going to back him up on that, because I really think getting an x-ray can tell us quite a bit. And some particular syndromes that I might look for that might be related to this could be something as simple as arthritis. Kitties get arthritis, and 8 isn't all that old, but I have seen cats that have lower back pain, arthritis, or even some hip arthritis. So that would help us to identify if that was a problem. We can get on the right medication, the right bearing, if you will, if that was an issue. The other thing is I have seen cats that have kidney stones or even bladder stones. And that can cause kind of a acute pain where they react to that kind of out of nowhere. Doesn't always have to be a problem with the litter pan that you see as their first sign of that something is wrong. So the x-ray would also help us in that direction. So if you had to pick something, I'd probably start there. But yeah, I think we're going to need to do a little bit of some investigation to find out a bit more. I definitely respect that. You know, she's telling us something. It's just she doesn't have that human voice to back her up there.
Right. Speaking of human voices, Debbie, in the last 3 days, there is a cat that cries outside. There's a lot of outdoor cats here, unfortunately, and mine are strictly indoors. And it sits and just cries. It comes 2 or 3 times a day. And I'm wondering if this mating season. Is this mating season?
Well, I mean, certainly, depending if that kitty's not spayed or neutered, then yeah, he could be looking for a friend. You know, he certainly may be aware by sense, sight, or sound that you have kitties in the home, and maybe trying to do a little kitty communication and thinking we can get access into this home. So yeah, so it's tough when you've got a lot of feral cats around and you don't necessarily want them to mix. So as best as you can to keep the physical barriers between the feral cats so they don't have access to create any disturbances inside the home, because we can get indoor cats getting all shaked out of whack when it comes to litter box habits if a feral cat's kind of come to that front door. I'd be careful with that because we don't want to set off a litter pan riot in the household.
Thank you so much for your call today. We appreciate it. Well, that's all we have time for, Dan. I got to tell you, it looks like Lucy wants to go outside right now and take a walk.
She's ready to wrap it up, Hal.
That's what I'm saying. So go grab your animals, whether it's your kitties, put the kitties on a leash, or the dogs, or your iguana, your ferret, your flamingo, whatever. Take them outside for a walk right now and have some fun with them. Spend some me time with them.
And if it's cold outside or wet and mushy, you can wear pants. Put some pants on your dog.
I wonder if she makes flamingo pants.
That's so weird, Hal. I'm just trying to imagine that. I don't know.
What about pants for ferrets? They have little legs, tiny little legs.
Oh, they get out of them. They're so sneaky.
Okay, we definitely need to get out of the studio now. Have a great week, and be sure to visit us over at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app if you haven't done it. And we'll catch you next week right here for more Animal Radio.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Go on, Lucy.
This is Animal Radio Network.